Yo, so guys, I'm Fire here, back from the video, and so we're going to be hopping into our first ebook of Madden 26, and today we're going to be bringing you guys my Los Angeles Chargers offensive ebook. This is what I think is the best offense in the game so far, and we're going to be showing you every formation, every play that you need in this offense to absolutely dominate the competition in Madden 26. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like, subscribe to the channel down below. Next ebook I'm thinking about doing is Washington, but let me know what other teams you guys want to see. Now, there will be a written version to this ebook. The link for that will be down below in the description as well as pinned in the comment section, and that will include every written setup that is included in this video. It includes the coverage that it beats in the exact order that I present the content in this video, which makes it super easy to follow along. It is definitely worth it. I have never had bad reviews on any of the ebooks I've made. Everybody always recommends them, and it's pretty cheap compared to most ebooks out there on the market. $7.99, and it gets you all this content. This video will be very long because of all the plays I have to go over, so that is a good way to just support the channel, and it's definitely going to make learning the ebook a lot easier. So again, the link to my website pinned in the comment section in the description. Go check out that ebook, go grab that ebook, and you can have it open next to this video, and it will make learning this so much better. It also makes referencing it better if you're mid-game. Whatever the case may be, you can actually go back, check the ebook, you can get all the setups, because obviously it's a lot to memorize. But yeah, so let's hop into it. And what do we like out of the Chargers playbook? Because the next one I'm thinking about bringing is Commanders. A lot of people are asking me to do that one, but Chargers did win the vote that I put in my post. And what do I like out of Chargers? This Bunch Str Offset. It all starts with this corner strike, dagger, flood, your big three, and then obviously like duo and whatever runs you like. Moving on, trips tight end. This has one of the best trips tight ends in the game. We got motion Z spot. I like that play. Some QB runs, and then we got kind of your basic RP alert bubble. That play is so important to a trips tight end. And if your trips tight end doesn't have it, it's automatically just significantly worse than the other ones. PA counter go is going to be in our audibles. We have curl flat and verticals, and then a few other plays. Again, I can't talk about every single play because this video would be 3 hours long, but moving on, we got a U trips. It's called Y off trips close, but this is U trips if you guys remember. You'll usually in Patriots playbook, but this is really good offense. We're going to talk about this. Tons of good plays in here. Normal Y off close. We know how good this formation is. Tons of plays in here. And yeah, bunch X nasty is the last one we'll talk about. Just another solid bunch concept. And there's even tight open, tight offset that I don't go over because, again, I know this video will already be super long. So let's jump into the Bunch Str Offset. Again, my audible is pretty self-explanatory. Dagger, inside zone, or whatever run you prefer. Corner strike and flood. And let's jump into the first setup, which is going to be corner strike. All of these setups will be as if your bunch is on the right-hand side. Now defensively, I'm going to be trying to keep a mix between a cover 3, cover 2, maybe a cover 4. Let's set up a regular man coverage. And yeah, so let's come out in just a basic. Why is it so hard to find anything? Okay. So I'm going to respot the ball real quick and we'll get going. Sorry for the long intro, but it kind of has to be long. I will leave timestamps down below in the chapters so you guys will know how to get to all the right spots. And I will let you know that my voice will probably be a little bit shot towards the end. It's already a little scratchy. And I have to talk for probably well over an hour. So corner strike, we're going to start out with just a basic setup. Post RB, drag A, and we're going to go ahead, streak Y, and come back X. Now I'm going to try and keep a decent pace going throughout this video because there is just so many setups, probably, gosh, I don't know, 60, 70 setups, 6, 7, you know, just a lot. So, and that's not an exaggeration, it's probably around that number. But here's the first setup, very good spacing play, basic. Love hitting the running back out of the backfield. It is a very underrated concept, these running back streaks, and not too many people take advantage. Now against man, this would never be a great play just because you're relying on the drag, post, or corner route, but the running back's kind of useless against man. But for whatever reason, the way they play it is kind of stupid. Like you see how 32, he really follows the post, which opens up the streak just a ton. So of course, I could check it down to Disley and pick up a couple yards. It wouldn't be your greatest option, but if you have to and maybe he's playing further over the top, maybe he's using number 56 and that is a little bit more open than it is in this case, then that could be an option. Let's switch our coverages here to a cover 2, and now we can hit this post. We get an inaccurate pass, but you can see that the post was open. And yeah, overall, again, if it is man coverage, this is a situation where our corner out should get open, hopefully. Now, we get kind of a weird animation there. Maybe I think it's a little bit better against press man, but we'll go back to that corner out against man-to-man coverage. And I'm also going to put in clips that I've taken from online play to kind of show you guys that these plays work in online games. So do not be worried, but setup number 2, we're going to go ahead and put X on a comeback again. We're actually going to flat B, which is going to be the right trigger. It's going to look like this. We're going to put RB on a zig and A on a post. So this is a good spacing concept to open up your zig, actually. And I'm glad they put the flat back in the game because they took it away from us for a second, and this play was a little bit worse using the out route instead of the flat. So I'm very grateful that they put it back in. So again, we want to hit McConkey. McConkey's going to be our first read here if your flat isn't just open for whatever reason. This flat's never really something we expect to be open. Could it get open? Of course, but then you kind of move on to your progressions. You got Harris on his little route out of the backfield, which will be a solid man-beating play as well because we have the zig, which should beat man. The post should do well, and then we have the little underneath route. So definitely like hitting that running back route, but usually the underneath route's played a little bit better. It's going to be definitely more open against the Tampa 2 defense that we just ran rather than the cover 3 that we saw previously. And then, of course, we want to try and open up this post if at all possible, but I'm okay, again, hitting these underneath routes, and we get pressured there, but I believe it should come across open. Maybe it's better against cover 3 than cover 2. If it's man-to-man coverage, again, we're trying to hit McConkey. Hopefully he gets a good jump off that press. Otherwise, we got some other options. So he does get just open enough. The running back would have been coming across open. And then the tight end post, I know Disley's not the greatest tight end in the world, but he should get open against man coverage. Now he gets blanketed here for whatever reason, but a lot of times they will be fine. So next setup is going to be drag X, streak RB, and post A. Very basic setup. Got 2 underneath routes, corner route, post route. So I love hitting the drag here. I think it's probably the best option, but corner out can definitely get open as well. Now the corner out is just not going to be as open with nothing kind of over there behind it. So just because it's shorter, but what it does do is it'll pull up the zones. It'll definitely open up this route. So hopefully he follows the running back. That's really what you want. I find in most cases running this play that I either hit Keenan Allen or I hit Disley, because it's going to be kind of obvious. Dude, the blocking in this game is kind of crazy. I get shedded just so randomly. Like, what is happening here that we're getting no time to pass? Like, what is that animation, dude? Zion Johnson, you need to get sent to the retirement home. I know you're a young player, but I don't care. You still need to get sent to the retirement home. Now, the tight end post was wide open, but Jesus, getting instant shedded again. And I have some crazy clips from some of the games I played where people will just literally get unblocked. Like, it's a 4-man rush out of a nickel 2-4 and it's unblocked. Point being, this setup is good, very good against man as well, because you have like 4 routes that should beat man coverage. The streak obviously not going to do much for you, but this route, you see the separation there. I probably threw that late, and really you would have wanted to maybe highball that, but that's kind of a look at what can happen. But let's move on. Drag X, streak RB, post A, and we're going to streak Y. So a little bit of a weird kind of looking setup with 2 streaks, but trust me, the spacing does end up working on this because of the delay, and it really brings those guys upfield. So really my progression is going to be hopefully either Harris immediately or the post, and one of those guys will be open. They can't defend both of them. So if he defends the running back, then I know that this tight end route is going to come across and be open. And what really helps to open up the tight end route is the drag coming from the left side. And that's why we will have so many setups with that concept, because it really is the best route to open up your post. So very similarly looking setup, but again, my last kind of read is going to be Keenan Allen, and that's if he like jumps over to the post. Maybe he goes with his user from running back streak to post, and then if he goes running back streak to drag, then you hit the post. If he goes maybe post to drag, then you can hit the running back streak, and you can even hit this running back streak a little bit later, which is also the nice thing. Wouldn't be my favorite setup against man, but it's, again, still could work because you still have the drag, corner out, post. Hopefully those guys are doing work for you getting open. So again, cover 2, we had the post open. Running back would have been open a little bit earlier. I threw it late. So overall, good setup. Next setup is going to be to drag X, corner RB, streak A. Now I don't love this setup, but I think it can work decently. Definitely not good against cover 3, and I didn't even have that in the ebook. I don't know why I actually did that. I like this setup, I think, a little bit better against like man, but I think it should work decent against cover 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so cover 2 is good. Man coverage, it's definitely good. So, and again, the setup's a little bit riskier. I would practice it. I think it's good against cover 4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that in my set of audibles, but I do believe so. So, and you're not custom stemming, so hopefully these guys are just able to beat the man coverage. Vlad McConkey got pressed pretty badly there, but Quentin Johnson is, we don't like that matchup over there. I probably might move Keenan Allen over there as we switch the play, but he even gets a little bit open there, so decent setup. That's probably the worst setup that I'm going to give you guys, but next setup is drag X, corner RB. We're going to actually custom stem it up once to get it a little bit deeper, and then we're going to streak A and flat Y. So kind of a similar looking setup, but we just try and kind of enhance it a bit. And really we're trying to open up B with that deeper corner out. That's kind of what we're doing. And you could, of course, some of the more popular ways to do it nowadays is with like a slot fade. So you technically could do it with like this, and it would probably work the same. Dude, my offensive line is freaking dog crap. But if it doesn't open up, then that's okay, right? It's definitely gonna be, again, probably a little bit better here against cover 2 than cover 3. You can hit that, but against cover 3, you could of course have just checked it down or hit your drag. So decent setup, and this is if maybe he's playing inside aggressively, you killed him with the post a few times and he starts to adjust, you can take more of an outside attack. Last setup that I like is kind of a traditional setup, and you can really create this out of any kind of setup, any play, but I like to use corner strike. We're gonna corner RB, custom stem him to the lowest, we'll streak B, post A, and it'll just kind of look like this. You could come back X as well, but I feel like everybody kind of needs a setup like this in their life. Very good against most coverages, should get open against cover 2, cover 3. Cover 2 could be a little bit more risky, but it should be better, again, if it's kind of pressed, actually, I believe. And then we kind of already talked about the other setup we got behind, so boom, perfect. And we will go back to those corner routes as well, but definitely a fan of that look. Let's show it against man coverage. Should be a good setup against man. What I've seen a lot more online is like backed off man-to-man coverage. It's definitely kind of a tough thing to beat. But these routes never fail. You got to go back to them. And if they start to try and like route commit outside, then you can definitely take advantage with some of the inside setups that we'll go over. So that's corner strike. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be flood. And again, Bunch Str Offset definitely has the most setups, so it will take the longest. I mean, all these really formations have a lot of setups, so there's no speeding up the process. But let's move Keen's an 81. That's kind of crazy. I feel like he's better than that. 83, 84. That's just me. Now let's run flood. Now this setup may not work great with Keenan Allen there. Probably actually should not have done that, but it's okay. First setup I like is to just flat B, zig, RB, drag A. I really only like this against cover 3. Not a big fan of it against cover 2. So I think it's good against cover 3. I think it's good against man. I think it's a decent red zone play, but kind of the similar concept that we ran out of that first corner strike setup. We go with the zig and then the flat, and it's opened up the zig pretty perfectly. Kind of a good quick snap setup as well. So again, cover 3, we're looking to probably either hit the dig or the drag quicker or the zig. If it is 2-man under, obviously we're looking mainly for the drag, the zig, or the in route. Hopefully QJ can get some separation over there. He runs that route at slot speed, but he does get open. So sometimes the corners will play that super far in, maybe if they're pressed. So let's say he's backed off. It should honestly work even better if he is backed off. Dude. The 4-man rush by the Carolina Panthers needs to be studied. I'm not even on all Madden. These pass rushes are crazy. So honestly, with faster receivers, better route running, they would run that in route quicker and you'd be able to hit it more effectively. But let's go into another setup. Let's drag X, post RB, corner A. What I like doing here is to custom stem RB up once and twice. If you guys don't know how to custom stem, you hold that left bumper and then you flick your left stick up once and twice. And I put all the custom stems in the ebook so you guys know. But this setup is pretty good. It's decent to open up this fade route. This fade route will be good against stock man, and I'll try and show that. But this is a good zone coverage beater. And I threw that really, really late, and we still actually were able to catch it and get the stupid broken tackle animations that happen in this game. But overall, love, 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 love this setup. So custom stem up once, twice. It's important that he's deeper. We put A on the regular corner out, which is a little bit shorter, and then again, the drags. Even the drags are good at pulling down the thirds, which is weird, but it's very effective. So this is, again, cover 3. If I wanted to throw it here, this would be the best timing, and now it kind of turns into a one-play touchdown. I maybe threw it a millisecond early, so you want to practice, figure out the timing that works for you, but up once, twice, drag, corner, boom. We still get a 6-man protection, so we should have enough time for things to develop. Let's say you're facing Tampa 2, hoping this corner out gets open, but maybe the depth isn't good enough. Doesn't look like it is, so I would have just hit my check down drag. Not sure if the post was open, so I'll set it up again quickly here. Looks like he should undercut it there. He got bumped, but in most cases, I believe he should undercut the mid-read. And obviously, if he puts the mid-read in a third, it's going to work even better. Now, I want to try against cover 3 to see if the fade could get open. No, but we do get this roll-out corner option, which is definitely an effective way to attack it as well. So if your post is usured or ends up getting defended, you have other options to go to. So our next setup is going to be comeback X, post RB. We're going to custom send that up once, twice, drag A. Kind of a similarly looking setup. But another good way to beat cover 3 is with this comeback route. And this should open it up a little bit more, kind of allow you to throw it a little bit later. A little bit more traditional cover 3 beater, that post over the top. And again, when we ran corner strike, what were we doing? We're really putting the tight end on the post, and now out of flood, we're doing it with Ladd McConkey, and it's probably catching my opponent off guard because he's so accustomed to B being on a corner route and RB being on a drag or a zig or a corner route of his own. And now he's just not going to be ready for this. Zion Johnson gets instant shedded once again, but would have worked the same. And I don't like the setup against cover 2, so I'm not going to run it against cover 2, but against man, it should work. Again, we're hoping McConkey can get open. Now, Keenan Allen honestly should be a good route against man. If he's not open, I'm going to try it with over there with Quentin Johnson and flip it. But this fade usually should beat man coverage. Press. I don't know what the hell happened there. I also don't know what happened at the end of the play. My lord. So maybe I put the wrong person in the zone. This is the coverage. Okay, let's see if it plays how we want it to. But this is Keenan out. Oh my god, dude. Zion Johnson needs some help, man. He's getting turnstyled. Who is this D lineman? Because he is freaking getting the same animation. Najee Harris, we know you have bad ball carrier vision in real life, and this is really just proving it for us. I loved what you did there. Hell, let's double team one of the best tackles in football instead of. I digress. But McConkey, he actually gets defended well, and it looks like he has separation. He doesn't, but Keenan Allen is the one who I was going to throw it to. He gets separation on this fade, and even as someone who's 90 years old with no speed, he actually gets open on the route, which proves that, like anybody else, let's try it with QJ. He should get open on this, and honestly, flipping it wouldn't be maybe the worst option either. So let's run our 2-man under, and then I'll move on to the next setup, I promise. So let's say they press, and again, you'll see this a lot. They'll try and use the guy on the running back, and then maybe play deep, whatever. Let's use him, because maybe we'll get some better stuff there. Jeez Louise. I don't know what happened to that rub route. That normally should not happen. I think it had to do with the spacing of the D-line. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, though. But whatever. It beats man. The fade would have gotten open. This is pissing me off, so I'm just going to try and get it to work really quick with stocked routes. And, I mean, look at the corner route that gets open stock, but Herbert sails it, but he was open. So, cool. Now, let's go with drag X, corner RB. We're going to custom stem that to the lowest. Streak A, flat Y. It's going to look like this. Very good spacing play. Looking for, obviously, drag, corner, flat. And then we have these streaks, which can get open. So, cover 3, love McConkey's route. Love it against cover 2. Love it against cover 4. Love it against man coverage. We just simply love that route. And, yeah, cover 2. And I'm going to try and put on a little bit better of a pace. But it's like, if I'm going to get shedded, then, you know, I would have obviously hit Najee. If I know I have enough time, I look at the D-line, and I'm going to try and wait and hit McConkey's route. Again, if it's press man, the setup's not going to be great. I wouldn't love this setup against man coverage, but fade still should get open, drag should get open, corner out should get open, so hopefully you have some options. And even tight end streak with the right personnel could get open against man. So that was cover 2. Let's say they do play man. Then, obviously, this route, I mean, just fries. And we have one of the best route runners in the sport, so that definitely helps. But we saw that the fade would get open, and then this corner out would get open. Hopefully, your drag gets a little separation. So, next setup we're going to do is to post RB. We're going to actually just custom stem this up once and run it stock. I like this setup for man in cover 2. I don't love it against cover 3, but you saw when I ran it, that one play, one time flipped on the left to try and open up QJ, that Disley got wide open, and he should get open on this. Now, he gets kind of bagged here, but he actually still gets enough separation. When I flipped it, he got a lot more open, so let's try running it to the side. Maybe it's just a personnel issue. Maybe it's a worse player, but I like this against cover 0. Press man-to-man coverage again. Post should get open, fade should get open, and then hopefully our backside dig gets open as well. So let's look at the separation. Obviously the safety over there is not ideal, but that's a realistic situation. So love that setup. And then let's say we face cover 2. Obviously you're kind of banking on getting enough time to open up Disley, but McConkey should kind of be open there. But really this is what you're trying to hit. He should not user it. He'll go probably post to in route with his user, and that should be open. Last setup for flood, streak A, corner RB. We're going to custom send that to the lowest. Slot fade B, post X, and block Y. It's going to look like this. Now, this looks weird on paper, but this is another way to open up the corner out just even more instead of using the streak with Keenan Allen. So you'll see this concept a lot out of bunch head end, or just obviously bunch. But it's definitely going to be, I think, better against cover 2, but this is a good setup against man. Those slot fades definitely put in work. So again, your slot fade can get open stock against man. And then again, with X over here, you could do whatever. You could drag him, you could post him, you could leave him on his in route, dealer's choice. So glad gets wide open there. I don't know why I threw it so late, but obviously you probably want to throw it earlier so you can run up the field. And then, yeah, Keenan can get open. I don't know that he's going to. Again, he has good route running, but JC Horn definitely has the speed advantage. So if it's man, obviously McConkey works well there. That was I don't know what happened, but I would have obviously hit the streak of the post. I was trying to hit Keenan and show this route worked, but setup's good. Right, let's run cover 2 real quick. I don't know why we got... Sometimes weird stuff can happen on the right there. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but let's get into dagger here. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on this formation, but it's definitely the most used, most important formation. I will keep up a little bit of a quicker pace, but I already knew this video was going to probably be close to 90 minutes. So I appreciate you rocking with me. I do this for the love of the game because no one else out here is doing these ebooks like this. So Dagger is really good. You'll see a lot of good plays in the clips that I show out of Dagger. And specifically for QJ's route, you'll face just a ton of freaking idiots that play 2-man under like this. And if they do that, this route is just going to eat their lunch, breakfast, dinner, late night snack, dessert, all of the above. It is just absolutely filthy. And even with a receiver with 76 overall QJ, he's doing good over there. So, and again, we'll maximize that route, but just trying to show it stock. I mean, it should get open. Certain times it won't. But how do I like running this play besides that? I like just deep crossing RB. Now, Disley's route is kind of weird. You could do a few different things with him, but for now, he's kind of fine on this route. It's almost like a delayed route, but not only is Quentin perfect to just get open on that streak, and he could get open against zone. Like if it's a press cover 3, he still could get open against that. But he's a really good clear out. Perfect clear out option. So he's going to open up Glad McConkey perfectly on something that just a fade may not be as good at doing. So love that against every coverage. Cover 2, cover 3, man coverage. And again, man coverage, we have our drag, crosser, and our fade. One of those should be open, hopefully. Obviously, if everything is defended, we could just check it down. If it's cover 2, sometimes they press weird, and number 2 was hanging back there. Just take my drag, and then as far as Disley's route, he almost runs like a weird little angle route. So obviously, if he's using that outside linebacker, then he would be wide open too. Next setup, pretty much the same thing. We just flat Y, give us another option. Nothing too different about this, but giving us another option. Again, we still want to hit this crosser at all costs. Press 2-man under, crosser. Like, let's run press 2-man under, crosser, drag. And then flat's just out there for spacing, but... And again, man coverage is so inconsistent this year that it's hard to predict sometimes. So if I really wanted to, I could like zig A and just block him and just go ball to the wall with our man coverage setup or beaters. And like here you see it's the same coverage and now he's wide open. So it's just so weird. I'm not doing anything differently. I'm not pressing, shading inside, route committing. It's just weird. But next setup, deep cross RB, block A, wheel Y. I like this setup sometimes if they're like man blitzing. So let's say they're blitzing us. Najee Harris is not going to be a good player to do this with, but hopefully your guy can get some separation on that wheel. Obviously, I would have probably put Hampton in if I was going to do something like this, and I would probably honestly should have him in regardless. But if you notice on the left, QJ got wide open, and then you have your other man beating routes, so it's not a huge concern. The pressing is broken in this game too, but crosser was open. Streak on that play wasn't open, so be careful with it. Next setup I would do is wheel Y, post A, flat B, drag X. This is a good zone setup. I wouldn't run this really much against man, although you have the post drag combo. But I like this setup against zone to open up this wheel route, kind of similar to some of the streak concepts we've done. And the wheel route is really good at opening up the drag. So even though it sounds kind of weird, it is. So again, all I have to do is post A, drag X, wheel Y, streak. Perfect to run those routes up the field. And then what does the drag do? It opens up the post. So a lot of these routes kind of work with each other again. Perfect. Inaccurate pass, but he is wide open. So obviously just, be smart and execute. And this play will be perfect. So again, bada bing, bada boom. Obviously I love hitting Harris, but we have those other options. Again, maybe shy away against man with this setup, but I don't hate going to those other options. Say it's Tampa 2. The wheel, probably more of a quick throw option, but we still have this post open. We still have the drag open, and really the wheel was honestly still open, period. So last setup, flat B, zig RB, Texas Y, drag A. Good red zone setup, good man setup. So again, similar concept that we ran out of flood, that we ran out of corner strike. And then again, just good stuff on the back end. So we have the drag. I'm okay doing that every time, and I usually try to fall down to avoid the hit, even if it is a cornerback. And yeah, this is a good setup to beat like overthinkers. Boom. Really, you're going to either hit the zig early or try to get back to that angle route. Late read would be your drag usually. So overall, good setup. And then as far as the runs, pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to run the ball a whole lot out of this formation. If I am going to run the ball, it's going to mainly be out of trips tight end, out of the formations that we'll talk about. But normal out close is decent. This inside zone is pretty bad this year from when I've ran it. So I usually try to avoid it actually at all costs. But duo is a good run, so that should honestly be in my audibles instead. Like you see, it is not good, this inside zone. Read option is a little bit better of an option because you have the QB threat, which should take one player at least out of it. But I should throw duo in my audibles because that run is a lot better. But let's hop into trips tight end now. All right, so now we got trips tight end, and trips tight end is going to be kind of the whole package here. We love curl flat, RPO alert, bubble verticals, PA counter, go. And the other play I like is motion Z spot, which I already kind of talked about earlier on the right side there. Very good formation, very balanced formation. I like to keep things simple with this, and I have some good clips from this as well. Now, certain times, again, you may have to go off course with some of the setups here. I like to try and have everything prepared, but certain times you guys may have to freestyle, and it would make sense to do that. Like certain times I may run setups that aren't in this ebook online, and they may work, and things happen. But if you're facing some weirdo, playing some weird coverage, you may have to like freestyle a little bit and put this player on this route. And so just letting you guys know that sometimes weird stuff happens like that. But let's run our first play, which is going to be our verticals here. Now, verticals is one of the best kind of stock plays in the game, believe it or not. And you see some really good clips from this play that I have because it's really just the easiest play to kind of work off of. And I'm going to have my trips on the wide side for this. Some people like it on the short side. I don't really love that, but I can understand why. So Keenan Allen is going to be our best guy here, and I cannot stand him being on the outside, so we're going to actually move him. And Quentin Johnson should have... Trey Harris, I think, is fast. Maybe he's the best option. We'll try it out. If he's getting jammed because his route running sucks, then we will adjust. But I think he has good route running, or at least enough speed to get open. Now, you'll face cover 2 a lot out of trips. People think it's like the kryptonite, but it's not. Easy setups against zone. This is kind of the first quick snap setup I run, just flat RB. But a lot of routes that could just beat man coverage, and it looks like Trey Harris, poor guy over there, did not get the kind of release I was looking for, so we're going to move on from him immediately because Did not want that. Rager might be okay over there, but we know how his hands are. I apologize for these delays. It just happens when you're recording a long video like this. But yeah, so you can see Quentin Johnson. He's on a different kind of streak. Similar to, it's not a fade, but if I put him on like a fade normally, you see how there's a little hitch in the road. He's on kind of a nice stock route, and he should do pretty well against stock man. We saw McConkey get wide open there, so we're in the wrong coverage. I was gonna say he played that really weird, but that's because it was a cover 3. So here's press man. So this is the kind of release you want. You can see Quentin Johnson got open on that. And then again, like if it is cover 0, I love just coming out here and snapping the ball because I even could just zig him or whatever, but this route should get open. Now we have a tough matchup with JC Horn over there, but that corner route should get open, and obviously if it's zone coverage, this play is going to be good because we can hit the seam route with McConkey, which is very underrated. If you're facing zone, that route will just eat him alive, and he will have to adjust or start using over there, which is only going to hurt him in the long run. Of course, over here, high-low read, just simply throw it to the player that's open between those two. Spacing-wise, against zone, 90% of the time, it's going to be the running back on this little flat, so nice option there. Another option I could do is go with the streak with the halfback, actually. So obviously if he's using that hook curl, that route becomes seemingly more open. Now as far as Keenan's route goes, I don't hit it too often, but we do have a setup where it could be a little bit more open, but I will kind of adjust out of that. Overall, it's good for kind of pulling up zones, but as far as throwing it, you can see there's not too much of value. Now, if it's like a cover 2 press, this is where the options kind of become a little bit limited, but if I get enough time, I want to hit this route late as far as the seam goes. And what Keenan does a good job of is actually holding that mid-read across, which he did perfectly there. And that was just, again, cover 2, really stock. Again, I just threw RB on the streak, but you could have gone flat, set up, whatever. And seam route is who you want to hit. Now, next setup is to put RB on an in and B on a post. So this is kind of just a little bit of a different setup, but trying to open up Keenan Allen as an option. And I think it is a really good way to do it. A lot better than the route he's on normally. The route he's on normally is kind of, again, more so you see it to like pull up zones than to actually throw it. And then, of course, we could just hit Omarion Hampton out of the backfield and pick up 7, 8, 9, 10 yards. So overall, good setup there against cover 3, and it almost is a good cover 3 beater because corner out does a good job of on the thirds. I actually probably should talk about this corner out more against like man. Let's say we flip and we get a little bit of a better matchup here because this is a big route, an important route against man. Now he is bad route running, but when I was running this with like Evan Ingram and some of the better tight ends I used, it's really good against man coverage, and it is definitely important to use to beat it. So, but yeah, let's run like, again, if it's man coverage, the setup is also going to help it because when people play trips, they're either going to play it either stock like this, or they're going to usually do something like this if you're killing them with corner routes, which we will do out of other plays. So if they're playing it like this, then obviously QJ gets wide open there. Our seam route would have gotten open, but he got kind of bumped, and then the post should get open, and then you're in route in corner. Like, really good setup against man. So last setup for this play is corner B, Texas RB, and I just like doing this. Spacing wise, this is an interesting setup, but it really works well because of like kind of those stock fades. QJ is on a good, quick streak. I guess the reason I like his route is because it's quick. It's not as slow as the other fades. The quicker he starts running up the field, the more open these routes get, like the corner routes. And then the angle route, I think, is just a good touch. I could go in route with Omarion Hampton as well. So obviously the seam isn't open when you run it like this against cover 3, but your corner out is a little bit more of an effective option, and it's something that he's probably not going to see coming your opponent. Now, his cover 2, probably not the best to run it like this, let's be honest. But you still can hit him in that window if you just throw it over the top like that. So it depends. If he was backed off, probably not going to be as effective. But and then against man, obviously, we have still Disley over there that should be doing his thing. I mean, Keenan's, I don't know why he got pressed so bad, but he does get open. And that's a linebacker, so we expect him to, but we've all seen those routes against corners, and it's good. So our next setup is going to be the PA counter go. Now, PA counter go is probably, I guess, my least favorite setup in my audibles, but it's still decent. A few things that I like out of this play are going to be the stock fade route, streak, similar to what we had previously. And you see Quentin Johnson again, so if it's man, setup I love is drag A, flat RB. I put Y on the corner and I custom stem him down. So we had B open, we have A open. Y is a little bit hit or miss, and sometimes you'll see people actually like this run play on the short side a little bit better. It's a little bit hit or miss, and the reason for that is just because of the spacing. So, almost I like that play a little bit, I guess, better against zone than man, but hopefully Quentin Johnson isn't as good on that route, but you're doing it mainly for the crosser, and he's a good clear out option. So, we'll try and incorporate some things that open him up a little bit better, but yeah, this is good to open up your drag and then the crosser, so it's giving him a high-low regardless. Let's say it's cover 3. Then again, it really just opens up the drag. So he's going to have to take drag or crosser. Cover 2. And again, I could also Texas RB if I wanted to. That was blind. Obviously, if he's using one of those players, then the crosser could get more opened up. But we have some ways to open up that on the sideline. But this play is just kind of weird. I don't find too big of a fit for it. I kind of just run it a little bit randomly. But you can freestyle a little bit with it. But next setup is going to be streak A, flat RB, return Y. Using it as more of a traditional crosser setup here. And I think this makes it a little bit better. We can just hit McConkey there. On that return, he gets really open against zone. Against man, again, it wouldn't be the greatest, but you still have crosser, return. Both those guys should get open against man. I like this play probably just a little bit more against zone coverage, so we'll see if we get enough time to hit the crosser, which we kind of do there. He drops it, but I got hit as I threw, so it wasn't as much zip on the ball. Should work well against cover 2 as well there. So I guess I should have just checked down at the running back, but the return was coming across the field open as well. Last setup for this play, post A, zig Y, drag B, wheel RB. The setup kind of looks a little weird on paper, but it does work pretty well. I love, again, when I put the wheel routes on the field, I love having the drag underneath it because it just kind of clears the way for it. So definitely am a fan of that. Again, post A, zig Y, and then if you get enough time, you can hit this. And this is a one setup that I may actually like running on like the short side of the field. Post definitely can get open. Pretend that he was using 56. He jumps on the zig, maybe goes to drag. Post would be kind of left alone. And then, of course, we can just hit the zig over there late. Against man, drag, zig, post. It's okay. Again, not my favorite setups out of this play, but should still be something in there to get working well. Now, let's run the curl flat, which is probably kind of your second best pass besides verticals that you have. So first setup for this is pretty much one you guys will usually see, drag B. Very good, just kind of quick snap setup. You give yourself kind of two high-lows, drag angle route. Now, I don't like the drag angle as much as I did in years past, so I don't run the setup as much as I do some of the other ones, actually, because I just find myself throwing a lot of interceptions on it. For whatever reason, I get baited. Most of the time, what will happen is they'll jump on the drag, and then they will go to the angle route, so you'll probably want to hit the drag kind of in this window, like, oh, he's going to lurk. You'll usually hitting it in that angle, and then it's like kind of chaotic, and that's maybe why you see more people recently like running it on the short side, because maybe it's a better play from there, which, to be fair, probably is. But if you can't hit the angle route, it's going to be a lot worse on that short side, unless he's obviously using that player and he jumps on the flat or whatever. So I'll usually keep my trips on the wide side for that reason, but overall, I mean, decent quick snap play. And again, you're really trying to snap it before they get their defense set up. That's the objective. So next setup I like doing is to curl B, and then I like to custom stem him all the way down. So basically on a hitch. And I think this spacing is a lot better because it makes the decision for me a lot simpler. I can either hit the curl or I can just go ahead and hit that angle route. So a lot more easy of a decision. Again, you can still hit this route late, which I'm definitely a fan of doing. Take my 4 or 5 yards. And yeah, just overall solid option. Let's say it is man coverage. Is the setup good against man? Not as good. Curl hopefully gets open, but then you have your angle route and then your corner. Hopefully this gets open, which it usually should. And you can custom stem it down a little bit if you prefer that. I do that in the last setup, but yeah, decent setup. Let's say you want to take it a step further. What we can do is flat RB. This is the next setup we can do. So if it is this, then of course we have kind of two high-low reads, left side, right side with flat corner, and then flat curl, and then just a little hitch in the middle. And the hitch is super underrated. I'll throw that route a ton because it just gets kind of forgotten about. So that was against cover 2, against cover 3 here. Again, could hit this corner out over here. We don't get the greatest animation. Maybe if I custom stem down once, it's a little bit more open. So that's kind of what I mean. Like if I don't have that included in the ebook, you can kind of use your best judgment and be like, okay, it makes sense to do that there. But even against cover 3, probably makes more sense to just hit the check down. And on the wide side, it could definitely get more open as well. So keep that in mind. But again, against man, wouldn't recommend it. We have a lot better things that we've shown that are good against man. Last setup is drag Y, flat RB, and then I custom stem A to like the lowest or second lowest. So we kind of have a post drag combo, corner flat combo. So again, this is even better way to open up your running back route if that's what you want to do. We pick up seemingly a first down there, which is awesome. And then again, this would be your best bet against man. Now, even on the short side, I could also flip this and get him a little bit better, but overall he gets enough separation for me to complete the pass at least, which is good. So, oh crap, didn't mean to do that. And then over here on the other sides, we have drag route, of course. Post, it just really depends on how he's using it. The post kind of just holds the zones up more so. And again, I could return Y if I prefer that for spacing purposes. Let's run cover 2 because we haven't yet. So could I hit him in this window? I definitely could. Be careful though, you don't want to take a hit or get that jump by the safety. So let's go into our run play, which is going, or actually, let's go to the motion Z spot on the right there first, and then we'll talk about the RPO alert bubble. So motion Z spot is actually a play I run quite a bit. I like this setup, and what I do is I flat Y, smart route X, and then just curl B and put him on like the hitch. So it looks like this. Spacing for this setup is pretty good, and this is kind of a unique concept out of trips because we haven't done it yet. And what ends up happening is this backside post is something we haven't really done yet. So it gets pretty open, and it's definitely not usered or really expected. With McConkey, go speed out as well. It doesn't really matter, but that's the good window to hit the post. And again, he's probably jumping on corner, tight end, or flat. So very underrated concept out of trips is actually incorporating that into your game. And over here on the right, kind of your basic stuff would be open, of course. A little flat, we could just check it down too. And again, if you pick up 3, that's fine. It's better than taking a loss. Against man, not your best setup. I wouldn't really run this against man. At least this first setup. Our next setup for this play would be drag B, Texas RB, flat Y, smart out X, custom stem A. And you could go like 1 down. You could go this. But just a little bit of a better man option. We incorporate the drag angle, and again, our first read is still going to hopefully be the backside post, but we give ourselves some other options. And I could leave A up if I really wanted to, but holy crap, I have no time to pass. So I prefer this against man, to be honest, because of kind of the chaos. Like this setup should be decent. One of these guys hopefully gets open. Against blitz, maybe not as great. It's like I get blitzed every play the way I have no time to pass. Never see anything like it. But good concept. Let's go into the RPO alert bubble though. And then there's also a few good QB runs if you have a mobile quarterback. I'm not going to show them. I don't think they're that great, but to each their own. So this is really good. I have a lot of good clips from running this, and yeah, it's super underrated. So obviously the decision is going to be pretty simple for you. You're watching the player that's going to be above him. It could be a linebacker, it could be a corner. If he crashes, in this case, we're usually watching this player here. He's going to kind of, even if he sits there and does nothing, you're still going to hit it. And we have Keenan Allen, who's slow, and we're picking up 10 yards a pop. And in the clips, I had Marvin Mims a lot of times when I was using Denver. And this is the best way to run inside zone too. So even if he crashes, you're going to throw it. But if he sits there, you're fine. And what even my opponents are doing is using him. And if he's using him, he's just taking a player out of the play. And you'll take your 15 yards easily, or your touchdown, or whatever's given to you. Just basically, and the later you throw it, usually the better. Now, they're kind of blocking a little bit weird. Usually McConkey would just block that player. I don't know. Maybe they're just playing it a little bit weird. Let's try cover 3. Usually McConkey's going to block that player, and then you'll get like an easy 20 yards. So kind of like what happened on that rep. Man coverage. Yeah, let's say if they press like this, a lot of times it's going to be covered, and then you'll just hand it off. So man coverage is my favorite look, because then I know I can easily run the ball. And then if they start playing man coverage to stop that, that is when you just torch them with handy dandy verticals. And again, if the safety wasn't over there, we'd have a touchdown. And if he is, then we wait and we hit the seam, and that's a touchdown. So RPO alert bubble is a pretty good play, I would say. You can even try to like custom stem it up the field and get better rack on it, but minimum you're hitting like 4 or 5 yards, and even if it's not blocked great, you're still not losing yards, and just go back to the drawing board and run it again. I don't abuse it when I play. I try to mix it in like once every 4 plays, and if you run it too much, he starts to defend it against that, and honestly, I don't want him to do that. I don't want to just have to pass. I want to be able to use this. So I will usually just go ahead and try to not abuse it so that he doesn't adjust to it. But with that said, let's hop into our next formation, which is going to be the Bunch X Nasty. All right, so moving on, we got the Gun Bunch X Nasty next. And this formation is going to be a kind of a nice counterpart to the Bunch Str Offset, and keeping the bunch theme. So I would put this around number 3 for all these next 3 are kind of interchangeable most people would probably say normal off close would be the best of the bunch, but dealer's choice. You guys can all try these out, and really any of these can be a scheme on their own, but combine them, interchange them how you'd like. So the plays I like the most are the motion cross post and the motion Y corner under. Drive halfback under is going to be another play that's decent, which is going to be on the right side there. Other than that, I don't really run much else. I have this whip double spot because I think it's a decent like red zone play. But yeah, if I'm going to run the ball, I'm probably not going to run the ball from this formation. It's pretty not great to run the ball out of. So let's start out with the motion cross post, and we'll keep our bunch on the right-hand side. If you have made it to this point in the video, kudos to you, because we're definitely getting there in the however long it's been. So yeah, with this play, it's nice for this stock motion with Quentin Johnson. Definitely love that. And you can a lot of times see people run this on the wide side or with their bunch on the short side just to try and give this route a little bit more space depending on the coverage. But the first setup I run is drag streak X, drag RB, and then I'll kind of keep everything else the same. You have a nice little drag with McConkey and then a little over the top route. So this fade route is interesting. I don't remember it being kind of like this. I need to move my face cam. Thankfully I remembered now. I don't remember it being, I feel like I remember it being a little bit better rather, but that's okay. And yeah, it's basically just kind of a simple high-low read. You have those two streaks that can get open if it is man coverage. Now, again, it's not as clean, I think, as the ones in like college football, but it's okay. And if they bring pressure, you can also block the running back as well. It's just another option, but you definitely can get open. Now we get an inaccurate pass, but the separation was there. I'll just put the guy in a different zone, but you could definitely see that it was, like, let's say they play like this, which is a realistic defense to play against, like a bunch to this side. Honestly, Keenan can get open against the press. He's probably not going to because his speed isn't there, but we get some separation there, and probably a bad throw. Would have maybe wanted to highball it, but you can see how it would be good against man. Anyways, the next setup for this is going to be streak X, slant RB, flat Y. So I'm going to be kind of creating a flood concept here. And again, I'm okay with my bunch on the short side here, but first option, of course, is going to be just the running back out of the backfield. Can check it down pretty simply there. As far as Disley's route, it's okay. It's similar to the one out of Dagger, right? Sometimes the spacing is a little bit not great, so you can put him on something else if you'd like, but I think he's fine for what he is. You could just streak him. If you're like, he's in the way, he's got to get out of the way, you could just streak him or whatever. So yeah, I like hitting this route, especially late, like 15 yards there against cover 3. Let's say you face cover 2. Cover 2 is an opportunity to actually hit Quentin Johnson's route on the sideline if you're able to. So we'll see how that works. Like right in that seam spot can definitely work. So that is definitely, an option. And again, with man coverage, this one's going to be similar. Obviously, the flat's not going to do many favors, but you have the streak, you have the other streak. So, and again, Keenan can definitely get open here on that streak. If there's no safety there, of course, that could be a touchdown play. And the way a lot of people play two-man under now is with like 2 curl flats, or they'll put the safety in a hook curl or something else besides the deep zones because they're like, oh, those don't matter. A lot of people won't just come out and run stock 2-man under because people expect it and know how to beat it. So you'll see those weird adjustments. But the next setup is going to be drag X, corner RB, streak A. So kind of just your traditional bunch setup, drag, corner, streak, and obviously trying to hit the corner out. I probably would keep it on the short side again here just because the corner out is going to be more effective, at least against cover 3 that way. Could you custom stem it if you really wanted to? Of course you can. I like keeping the motion because, again, it's going to take some of the attention over to that opposite side. If I have to check it down to him, I can. If I have to hit my running back, that is an option as well. So overall, solid. Let's run cover 2. I think I might have forgot to put Keenan on the drag, but he's already kind of on an over route. Cover 2, we could hit our tight end in the middle of the field, or hopefully go to this. I mean, we have the drag and the corner out open. That's why I love facing cover 2, because a lot of times the cloud flat is in no man's land. I don't think it's as good as it is in college football this year. And you still have that option on the other side. So if I have to check it down, you can pick up a block, which is nice, and do a few things in the open field. So it can definitely be helpful. And yeah, so next setup is going to be streak RB corner A. We're going to put X on an in route. We're actually going to custom stem him up once and twice, get him a little bit deeper. And then what we're going to do is streak Y. So it's going to look like this. Player, it looks a little bit weird, but trust me, this is actually a nice play to open up those streaks. So, and I think I might prefer this one from the left hash. So let's adjust, if I remember correctly. So again, I go in route. You could go like post as well. I just think the in route maybe is a little bit cleaner, but 2 streaks. This is a good play if they're like kind of pressing you heavily, but this is just a nice little quick snap zone coverage play, right? Could just hit the seam route. Perfect. So again, we'll in route, custom stem up twice. Let's try it one more time against cover 3, see if we can hit Najee out of the backfield. But even then, if we can't, we have the dig route or the corner out late that, of course, can get open. So you see a lot more space there to just hit it quickly when you're on that kind of normal hash mark. Normally, you would see people run with their bunch on the wide side, but with this motion, it maybe makes it a little bit worse, but the motion is definitely valuable. The next setup that you would run is streak X, flat Y, corner A, put RB on an out route, and then I would actually try and custom stem this route a little bit lower, so like this. And this is just a solid man and zone spacing concept. A lot of times just try to hit McConkey on this quick out route, believe it or not. And a lot of people, I don't think, know that you can actually custom stem that down, and you definitely can. And you, of course, want to take advantage of it. So again, I corner A, and you could custom stem corner A up a little bit if you really wanted to, but flat Y, streak X, good spacing on the left as well. Keenan Allen is definitely a play to hit in the seams there. Like if he was using 56, he's definitely a play to hit in the seams there, but that is a concept, and maybe this play, that seam route is more in play if we're on this hash mark. Although this gives us less space to work with McConkey's route, so there's a give and take, and you'll learn kind of, okay, I want to run this setup if I'm over here, and type of a thing. So you can kind of hit Disley, and I maybe wanted to throw him a second earlier in that little short window. Let's say it's Tampa 2. And again, I'm sure Keenan Allen was a little bit more open there. I didn't actually double check. So here's again a look. Cover 2, we know Y is going to be open. We can just hit RB over here as well. A little bit later, and he might have been open earlier too. So good setup there. We got our last setup, which is going to be post X, put Y on an in route, and then what we're going to do is corner RB and block A. So kind of heavy man coverage beater here. A lot of good options. Post, little in route. So usually your first read is going to be, of course, that little slot fade, but you know, you have some other options with the corner route that can get open. Again, the corner route with nothing else over there is probably only good against cover 2. Here is cover 3, and you see the post, not really an option to throw it to, but we could of course have hit McConkey late there, so probably not great against cover 3. Let's try cover 2. I don't know that it's going to be great against that either. But again, hopefully this corner out gets enough open, which it seems like it does. We don't get a great animation, but maybe if we're a little bit further to the left with our ball placement, then that could have been an option. But man coverage is mainly where I like this setup. Like if it's pressed man-to-man coverage or cover 0, we're blitzing here. Hopefully our blitz gets picked up, but we have a lot of options. I don't understand. Like, I need to take a look at what's happening with this blocking this year. It's so bad. Dude, this just can't happen. Like, this is a defensive lineman, number 91. He's a D lineman. Like, that just cannot happen. And, like, some weird stuff's happening over here, but at least they're, like, recovering. Over here, it's just like, dude. And you know Joe Alt's a high overall, but presumably this setup would work. Now, our next play that we will go to is the motion Y corner under. But motion Y corner under is our play here. Let's make sure I'm in the right play. Yes, I am. Okay, so this play is interesting. You like the motion for Quentin Johnston here, though, and you see he's kind of on a return route. He goes across, but it's the same motion that we ran out of the other plays, so keeping it doesn't hurt us. First setup would be drag X, streak RB, block Y, and then I would custom stem A. You could go down one or up one. Dealer's choice, I'd probably go down one. And then we'll motion over. So kind of a basic, almost flood concept. Looking to hit Disley, though, because this is something that we definitely didn't do out of the other play, so should be a good option to kind of mix things up, and pretty effective overall. And again, I'm okay doing this on the short side. You could leave him stock if you want. I think it's just a little bit quicker, a little bit better. He is a bit shorter on that, so custom stem down once, and then Quentin will go across, and he is, of course, an option to hit here. Now, because we don't have anything else over there, he's not as great. Like, nothing's pulling him up because we only have the drag, so technically what we could do, and I don't know if this will be in the other setups, is you could like post him. I'm sure this would open him up a lot more, which again, and this isn't even a setup that I put in the ebook, but it's just kind of like a little bit self-explanatory. But of course, if you're facing man coverage, which is kind of the expectation for running this play, a very good man coverage beater, then Quentin Johnston should hopefully do some good things for us. As well as Disley, and I threw that really late and still able to complete it. But Quentin Johnston should definitely get open. It didn't look like he got great separation there, but we know that he's not the greatest route runner on planet Earth. But overall, good first setup. Next setup, drag X, post RB, block Y, and then we're going to custom stem A down again. So it's going to look like this, a little bit chaotic, but just overall, again, kind of a similar looking setup. And you give us the post on the back end. We're trying to hit that post or the return mainly. The corner out there by itself, definitely not as open as it would have been. So let's try it again, get some better blocking. That was a bad pass lead. That route is open. I just need to figure out how to actually throw it better. Oh my gosh. Let's try cover two. And against man, I would love this setup as well. Just a lot of good man beating stuff out there. So Keenan is definitely open. We should be able to throw it underneath of the mid read, which we are able to. So of course, if there was no mid read or he's an inside third, that's going to be even better. And then if it is man-to-man coverage, then again, hopefully QJ gets open. Keenan Allen's been getting like a really quick first step on that, but Quentin Johnston gets wide open, and then our corner route wide open as well. So good setup there. Next setup is going to be drag X, streak RB, corner A, flat Y. So it's going to look like this. Pretty similar to the previous setup, but we have just kind of a quicker corner route now, and this is up to you guys if you prefer it or not. But it's going to run pretty similarly. It's just if it's man coverage, you get a little bit of a quicker corner route. That's going to beat it more towards the outside rather than up the field, because sometimes you can throw interceptions if it is up the field. So again, drag X, flat Y, streak RB, corner A, and then go. So again, I would have hit A against that coverage, but gosh, it's so confusing sometimes. I'm trying to keep up. So here's cover two. And then again, if I'm like ever in doubt of if the corner's going to play it, then take your drag and you can pick up 8 and you will live to fight another day. And I don't know if this return route is a little bit more open with the flat. I'm assuming it is, but you could also wait on this route and still hit it late, and he's going to come across, and like you see how he's running, he's going to come across. But good setup there. Next setup is going to be to put Y. Let's put Y on an in route like this, similar to what we did previously. We're going to corner X, custom stem him down twice. post A, and then streak RB. So it's going to look like this. This gives us like a lot of folds and man coverage. And then let's try it against cover 3 first. Bing, bada boom. So I actually love the combo with Najee coming across on the in route and then that return coming behind it. Corner route, you could go down all the way if you prefer that as well. I'm not mad at that. Oh crap, I forgot to put Harris on his right route, but of course we're trying to hit this tight end and he gets opened up pretty perfectly. So really we're trying to hit the tight end or the return. He can't really user both of them, so it's going to be whichever one he can. And then even against something like cover 2, I'm expecting this corner out to actually get open just against it with nothing over there. We'll see if that is the case. Quentin Johnson should kind of play him off a little bit. And he plays that pretty well. We do catch it, but definitely not deserved. So man coverage is where that corner out is probably just a bit more in play. And I could go down all the way again if I prefer. McConkey, again, having those streaks against man is good because they can just get open straight up like a lot of the time. So A is open, Y is open. So again, 2 options to throw it to. We just throw it to whichever one he wouldn't be using. And then hopefully Quentin Johnson. Seems like he's a little hit or miss, but he's not, again, the greatest route runner. So that could be a reason why. Last setup is to block A, post RB, corner X, put Y on the in route. Kind of similar, but we just block the tight end here in case he's like sending pressure. So this definitely helps against cover 3. You see that return is a lot more open, so good option there. If it is man coverage, hopefully McConkey and Keenan can be open. And again, if I prefer, what I can do is I can custom stem Keenan Allen down or do whatever depth you guys like. I just do what I prefer, but post open, we get an overthrow, and I threw that definitely late, but overall good option. We got one setup for drive halfback under, so we'll just come out in it. And this setup I like is to flat Y, post A, streak RB. Pretty basic, but this is a sharper corner out with Keenan Allen, which is definitely something that's nice, specifically to use against man, but also against zone. It gets pretty good spacing, especially if your bunch is on the short side of the field, like ours is in this case. So again, I am streaking, sorry, I'm so confused. Post A, streak RB, flat Y, bada bing, bada boom. Tight end looks like he should be coming across open, but this route is even more open. Let's run cover 2. So against cover 2, we had a window for the post. We had the underneath route open. We had the flat route open. We might have had the corner route open. So that looks like it beats every coverage against 2 men under, last but not least. Well, looks like this route is wide open. So obviously, again, if there's no safeties there, that's a touchdown type of a play. And with the bunch, that's where you see like the mix up in coverages. If he runs like cover 4 and tries to use the safeties, a lot of broken coverages could come from that and just gets kind of chaotic. But yeah, that will do it for the Bunch X Nasty. All right, so next we're going to hop into the gun normal Y off close, which is one of the better formations this year. Now this is definitely one that when I'm playing, I will, if I'm using like a bunch heavy or a trips heavy attack, what I will do is I will definitely mix this in because it's really difficult to go from defending bunch or trips heavy to something like this that's kind of in the middle of both, right? It looks like a bunch on the right, and then it almost looks like a trips on the left. Of course, one less receiver on each side, but the concepts are the same, and you can mix them up in a pretty effective fashion. So the plays I like here are red zone scissors, mesh spot, escape, and double slant. We have a few setups for that as well. So yeah, the audibles I like, I will just go with these 3 mainly, and then I'll throw like an inside zone in there as well. No super good RPOs. There's a few of these weird motion plays, but I don't go over them necessarily. And if you guys want a full scheme on this formation, like a gameplay, definitely let me know because I'd be excited to bring that to you guys. So let's start out in the escape, which is going to be probably my favorite play on the left there. And yeah, after this, we just have one more formation, that Y off trips. So yeah, here's escape. Now escape, in this formation specifically, I'm usually going to be towards the left hash with my running back and my tight end on the wide side. So first setup I like is to post A, zig Y, streak B, and streak X. Just go heavy clear out. This route is kind of weird to build around, so you want to kind of let it do all the work. And then with McConkey, I've tried maybe putting him on returns, and I think a zig is just the best way. It's good heavy man approach, but against zone, I mean, he's open there as well. So first read is usually going to be that quick zig, just because it's faster developing. The later you move into the play, you're going to progress to either hitting either Najee Harris out of the backfield or Disley on this post, just because it takes a long time to develop. Now, I love Najee's route against man, but again, be careful with this because sometimes the sheds will be crazy and you don't have the most time to pass. So, of course, you want to try and hit this route, but McConkey's route doesn't pull him down as good as like something with a drag would do. But the reason you can't use a drag is because, and he's on the wrong route here, is they kind of run into each other, which makes it easy to use her. So what you could do if you know it's going to be zone is go with like this little hitch combo. I think that would definitely help. So we can even like try that out. And I mean, he's wide open, so we will just hit him there. So that is definitely something we could do, and that's again a setup that I didn't include, but that was cover 3 all. Let's try cover man coverage because that's kind of what I want to focus on. And again, if it's press man-to-man coverage, we have 2 streaks. You want to look for those first because they, of course, can be open. Like Quentin Johnson here beats man coverage. Again, obviously there's safety help over there, but if there was no safety there, then that would be a touchdown. Just use those streaks. Always look for them because they are open probably more often than you think. So going back to man coverage once more. This is where your post is going to be a lot more open, but of course we're trying to hit Najee Harris if we can get enough time. And again, it does take so much time, so I really try to like watch the pocket if I know I'm going to throw it to him. You could see that it would have beat man coverage. I'm just going to like spy one of these guys so we can actually get enough time. Let's go with the 3-man rush and see if we can get enough time. We barely do, and this time he doesn't beat him as good, but as long as you get a little separation, that is good enough. So definitely a valuable route, right? And you could even come out here and like run this play stock, and it's not even bad running it stock either. But the spacing of it makes it a little bit worse. Next setup is going to be return Y, post X, streak A, corner B, and we're going to custom stem him down just like this. So this is a good way to just kind of get heavy man beaters and stuff on the field. This route's pretty good against zone, and then having the custom stem corner out is always a good option against most coverages, zone and man. Let's try cover 2. And then again, we have a backside post over there on the left. I don't look for it all that often, although maybe I should. But a decent high-low between the post and the return. I'm mainly looking for the return, but the post is kind of good to pull up the zones and whatnot. So, and then man coverage is where I like this setup pretty heavily. And if it is man coverage and my tight end's not going to do much for me, I can also block him. But hoping Quentin Johnson gets something there. Having the post is helpful against man because it just gives you another fold, another option to throw it to. And there, he was actually the most wide open person because I was maybe not going to get enough time. And if you are getting just pressured so heavily, I do apologize, but this may be your best bet. And I forgot to put, or I guess I did get him off. And again, the man coverage stuff is inconsistent. I'm still trying to figure out things that you can do that will consistently beat it, because sometimes like you do everything the same and one time it beats it, one time it doesn't. So it's kind of difficult to understand, but overall those are the setups. Let's hop into the red zone scissors next. Now, red zone scissors is another good like quick snap play. And sometimes what you can even do is come out in one of those coverages and then, or one of those formations, bunch trips, and audible to this, and then get this play off quickly so they're not expecting it. But yeah, the first setup is just going to be stock. So literally just come out here. We have an in route. We have a little deeper post with Johnson. Disley's route is pretty valuable as a flat, and then we're opening up Najee on this route, which is good. So here, he's kind of playing it a little bit in no man's land. We're just going to take our flat because that is the more open option. Again, this is cover 3, but you can also hit Harris in this window and he's almost like on a wheel. So that is a lot of times the timing of it where you will end up throwing it. Like here, I could even wait a little bit longer and get a few more yards. So not a bad option. Now cover 2 is again kind of the same thing. We could hit this earlier. Of course, we can hit the flat late, like 90% of the time, unless they really are playing hard flats. Now, this is maybe a situation where we can roll out and hit Harris. Now, it looks like he's defended well there, so you would have just hit your in route or your flat. So I don't think it gets deep enough to do that. As far as man coverage goes, I think it's a little bit inconsistent as well, but let's run cover 2 again. And what you could do also is you could like put X on a backside post just to give yourself another option. But I mean, really he can't defend the running back and defend the in route at the same time. And then of course your flat is kind of your late throw check down if you need to. So again, if it is like pressed man-to-man coverage, Johnson should get decently open on this route, but hopefully this route can get some separation. It works decently well, especially if the linebacker's on you. All right, so next setup for red zone scissors is going to be post A, return Y, flat B. Setup looks a little weird, but honestly it works pretty well. So we can just snap the ball here. This route is in play. I probably would have thrown it a second earlier, but similar to the tight end being on the flat, I think it may be a little worse, but we try to open up these other routes. So this is another decent quick snap play. You see, you're just going to read based on how 56 is going to play you. If he's going to play you high, you'll go low. If he's going to play you low, you'll go high. And again, you'll quick snap, throw this to Najee if his user isn't over there. If his user, of course, is, then that's where you would go to these other 2 routes. Here's a press Tampa 2. And again, I could still check this down. Press Tampa 2 is going to be better than off Tampa 2. I think off Tampa 2 would be a situation where we could get that other route open, and if it is of the utmost concern, you could also just drag Y, and we know that would definitely help to pull him up, but you can, of course, hit him late there. So go drag if you want, go return if you want. I like the spacing of return, I think a little bit better as far as protecting yourself against the user, but viewer's choice. The return is probably also better against man coverage a little bit, in my opinion, but we'll put it to the test. Let's run it against man coverage. So here's with the drag, it doesn't really do much for us, and that's where the return could help. And again, there's some reps where we're just getting killed. And I know we don't have the greatest route runners besides, our main guys. And this wouldn't be my favorite man setup, but you could also like put B on the speed out, custom stem him down. That would be another kind of helpful thing against man coverage where you could just come out here, hopefully get some separation, quick snap it. Here you see Disley does get open, the return is open, so that's a little bit of a better idea of hopefully what you would see. So let's hop into mesh spot now. Oh my goodness. So many plays. You're definitely getting your bang for your buck with this ebook, probably more than most of the ones I have ever done. But first setup for this I like is to post X, slot fade Y, drag B, and then streak A. Kind of a weird spacing play, but I do think it works pretty well. I don't know, you guys can let me know, but I love this as a post drag combo, and this perhaps is a little bit better from the right hash. We'll find out. I think it would be just thinking about it, and this is where like knowing which setup would work better from which hash is of course helpful. So again, the slot fade is very good to kind of manipulate zone coverage, and it definitely does get wide open there. So obviously here, really most of the times you're throwing it to the drag or the post. If it ends up being man coverage, the wheels and the slot fades, they definitely can get open. Like if we face man, and let's run a setup like this, and I highly doubt we'll get enough time, but we'll try. I don't know. I put Derek Brown in a spy, and then he ended up manning up with that player. I don't know what the hell is wrong with these match principles, but they're freaking really stupid. So I guess I'll try and just run it normal. So McConkey there, you see he ends up getting a step. He didn't, again, you probably would want a high ball freeform, but he definitely can. Harris should be able to beat man, so it's a good man setup. Next setup I run is another good quick snap setup just to post B straight up. Of course, you could almost quick snap throw it to Harris a lot of times, and this setup is probably better from the other hash, so again, we'll move back. Oh my gosh. So again, we talked about it earlier, this wheel route is really helpful to open up your drag, and it is something that continues to work, so love that. And then the post coming across, definitely underrated. Disley is an option. But if we can wait long enough, this route should be coming across open because we have keying on that stock fade. And if we remember that stock fade, it's very helpful to like open up. If he was on a crosser, even you could do that too. It's just dealer's choice. I like this though. You can step up in the pocket. You can throw it to him late, and that's usually the best way. And it's a very good coverage beater. Not the best man beater, but cover 4, cover 3. In cover 2, it's going to work pretty well against. So here again, I'm just going to take my drag, and if I can pick up 15, I'm always going to take my drag because it's just a low risk pass. If it is man coverage, Keenan is definitely an option to get open, and then obviously this post and your drags should all beat it. Wheel, a little bit useless against man unless you get enough time to pass it. Maybe if he's running 3-man blitzes or 3-man rushes out of man coverage, and it's a little bit more in play. The last setup would be to post A, speed out B. This is more so to open up Najee against those zone coverages. So you can hit him in like this window as the wheel route instead of him being strictly a clear out guy. So again, post A, speed out B. Then you still have the post drag combo, which is going to open up our post. We know that the drags, they pull down the zones, they open up the posts, and they are very effective against man. Not my favorite setup, but again, Quentin Johnson just on the straight easy out route is going to get open, honestly, a lot of times if you just pay attention and look for it. But probably not as much against cover 2, more against cover 3, or again, man coverage. You could just come out and get open. Let's try it against cover 2, because these wheel routes historically against cover 2 are not as good. But again, you can still kind of hit it there. And if you can get enough time, you can, again, almost hit him as a crosser, or you could put him on the crosser and hit him on the sideline. So let's get into our last play setup, which is going to be double slant. So double slant is interesting. Again, it's not in the audibles, so it's obviously the latter of our preferred plays out of this set, but a few decent things. We have a deep post with B, stock flat route, stock slants, and then a wheel route with a tight end. So we're going to build around B. We're going to smart route B, drag Y, come back X, streak A. This is kind of a cover 3 beating setup, and I would block my running back. So I would really only run this against cover 3. It honestly is a little bit hit or miss, so we'll see if we get enough time. Of course we don't, but I think you guys could see how it's going to work. And again, you're just going to try and wait on the post route, and you do need the streak, so obviously we got to keep that, but oh my god, I'm like trying to throw it before he's going to hit me regardless, because I know it's going to come open, and I'm still freaking not getting enough time. It's ridiculous, dude. But that's kind of what it should look like. And again, I'm having to get rid of the ball a little bit sooner than I would have wanted to, but that is how it works. And this is definitely something new for the formation because nothing we've ran has looked anything like this. I step up in the, oh my gosh, dude. Maybe if we custom stem it down a little bit, it's helpful. I don't know. I step up in the pocket, and then I specifically move around that guy, and I still get hit. So maybe custom stemming it down does help. So I may actually just add that because I think it does help. So let's actually do that. And this is why I don't finalize the ebook before until after I make the video, because make changes like this. But last double slant setup, zig Y in B, corner A. A little bit of a weird looking setup. I don't know, this must be wrong. That definitely can't be right. Maybe I mess up the icons. So it would make sense if I Zig Y, corner A in X. So this makes more sense. Okay, I just messed up the B and X. Sorry. So pretty basic concept. I would have hit my running back there or my zig early. You could put X on a post too. And honestly, I prefer that. I don't know why I did this. Let's post X because I think that's cleaner. But overall, the post is more so to open up the zig. You could just throw them on a drag too if you want. Post drag. I think it's a good man coverage setup. Specifically with this corner route, hopefully getting enough separation and then a few underneath routes I can get open. But again, that's not my favorite setup. And yeah, that'll do it for the normal Y off close. Let's hop into our last formation, the Y off trips. All right, guys, we got our last formation, last and final formation, gun Y off trips close, which is also known as Y off trips pats or U trips. If you guys remember from years past, this is a very popular formation. Few new plays, but none I'm actually going to really use. I'm going to just stick with what we know, the old ones that are good. And so I like just these 4 plays: scat, tight end whip, slot out, Y option wheel. I have like a couple setups for this one. I could also do a whole separate video on this formation as well because this is a very dangerous, fun formation. And we're going to start out with the Y option wheel, which is going to be on the left-hand side. I think my face cam is blocking it, but that's okay. If you guys know, then you know. So Y option wheel looks like this. So I love the post from Quentin Johnson, but we also have some good spacing stuff here. Now, the first setup that I run is to flat RB, and then I just put B on an in route, and then I'll usually just block A. So, and then I like to motion snap over RB, and this just creates kind of a nice concept of opening up the wheel. Now, so we'll motion him over, and I like to wait as long as I can to snap it. And then we're gonna just open it up like that. So this also works even better probably if you're on the kind of left hash mark. So again, we will flat RB, put B on just a basic in route. That was cover 3. Let's run cover 2. And again, cover 2 is where the wheels are definitely not as open, but you can still hit them in that window. And the post in that position is actually pretty helpful because a lot of times it'll pull up those zones and help open it up even more. So let's say the wheel is covered, which is possible. It's covered. What else are we going to work with? So if it's covered, we have just basic post combo. Now you're going to throw this post a little bit later because of the in route, and you could go with drag, of course, if you prefer, kind of like what we've been doing. I wouldn't really love this setup against man coverage, to be honest with you guys, so I'm not going to recommend it, but basic drag post combo, they're both going to be open. It's just throwing which one isn't usered. I see the post get usered a lot because they will kind of progress from the wheel to the post. Pretty kind of obvious, but that's okay. Now, the next setup I like to run here is to go with a heavy zone beater. And I love this play in the red zone, but I'm going to flat X. I am going to curl A and RB, and then I'm going to smoke screen B. It's going to look like this. Now what I'll do is I'll custom stem both these guys down all the way, and this is just a really good spacing concept. So immediately, first read is still going to be the running back over here, just like so, and then we will progress to the other thing. So I love this play if I'm on like the 5-yard line, even like the 3-yard line. Spacing of it is good. They will follow the wheel route more times than not, so you're looking for like A or RB here. Just simply hit RB. Even the tight end's like almost open there. And it really just depends on the coverage which one is going to be open. But more times than not, of course, you will have more than one person open. So again, flat X, curl both these players, custom send them all the way down. This is cover 2, by the way. So cover 2, I could either hit B or RB. In the red zone, more times than not, B is going to be covered because those cloud flats are going to sit a little bit lower. So you would probably have just hit RB there. But yeah, I mean, good stuff. So again, man coverage would not run it against. Now, man coverage is kind of weird with these curls and hitches. Sometimes they like get open, sometimes they don't. Like here, it's just like risky if I throw it. So I wouldn't run it. Hopefully he's not running man if you run that play. But let's hop into our next one, which is going to be scat. And with scat here, we are going to be focused on the corner route. Now, the spacing of this play isn't my personal favorite, but we have just a couple setups for this play. So we like the corner route with McConkey, but it's a little bit flat to where some of these passes can get picked. It's a little bit kind of sus almost, but it's good as like a clear out route. So the first setup I run is to post A, block Y, zig X, and just kind of run it like this. So the corner out we're kind of ignoring here. If it's man coverage, of course, the corner out definitely can get open, but we're kind of working with the other stuff. We have the post, zig combo. One of those should always be open, and then you have the little drag late with Keenan Allen. So overall, just a good spacing concept, and I don't presume a lot of you guys will be running like heavy U-trips. If you actually run this formation, I'm expecting a lot of you to be in trips or bunch and maybe audible to this if you are. So in that case, this is pretty good if you're like audibling to it once, you know, a couple times a game, mixing these setups and catch them off guard. Or, you know, sometimes you just need like a fresh formation. You're struggling on offense. Maybe you're moving the ball, but it's not easy. Sometimes just audibling formations can help. So hit this tight end in the middle, the zig. With nothing else over there, it's good against man. It can still be good against cover 3, but love it against man coverage here. This play would be really good, I think. Hopefully, depending on the releases, hopefully RB can get open for us. Super flat corner out, throw it on break, boom, he does his thing. And then hoping Keenan just gets open on his drag. Zig and post should be self-explanatory against man. We'll run it just one more time here, and then we'll move into our next setup. So next setup is going to be post A, flat Y, curl X, and we're just going to custom send that curl route down. Love this setup spacing wise. I'm probably the biggest, again, user of these little hitches. I love the hitch routes, and I love them even now better that you can like custom send them. It just makes them even better. So I probably use them more often than like anybody. And this play spacing wise is perfect. The drag route comes across, but again, you would have already thrown it to the hitch by the time you throw it to the drag, so it's, you know, okay. Tampa 2 here. Again, feel free to throw this hitch on every play, and he's going to have to start doing something about it, manning it up. But the hitch is perfect at pulling down those zones to open up the post. So, love that. The zone, the vert hook is not going to get the job done for defending that. As far as man coverage, this one definitely a weaker man coverage setup because you're just relying on the corner, post, and hopefully that in route. So that looks like pass interference. Am I wrong? But pretty basic stuff. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be the slot out. Now with the slot out, it's kind of similar, but we're working with the backside post. So it's on the left there. This setup, I like to just drag A and streak Y, corner X, and custom stem him to the lowest. So it's going to look like this. This is an underrated route, especially if there's nothing else out here, because you can just usually hit this. Be careful not to get lurked, because I almost got lurked, but he ran that slower. I feel like most receivers are going to run that a little bit quicker. But I'm assuming the streak was open, but again, drag A, streak Y, corner X, and then you have the quick slot out, obviously the name of the play, slot out, and then we have this backside post, so. Trying to make a play, trying to hit this post route, but it just depends on the coverage that you're facing. Let's try cover 2. I guess that might have been cover 2, right? Let's go back to cover 3. So of course, this should open up the drag, and then you should be able to hit that streak early as well. So this post definitely can get open. Like, of course, if there's no hook curl or he's using that hook curl, he jumps with the drag. The post is going to come across wide open. And if it's cover 2 hard flat, it's going to work the same way with that vert hook. So good setup there. As far as man goes, we can try it against man. We'll see how Quentin does. He's going to be the guy I would obviously love to hit if possible. The streak, again, it's not going to do much for you against man coverage, to be honest. So maybe I would just block him, but hopefully you get enough separation on that. Honestly, it's probably not enough to throw it, because if you throw that in game, it's getting picked. So just be careful with those. But, you know, could you flip it? Potentially. And could you hit lad? That's probably a pick too. But those are just some options, and those are things that I'm not putting in this ebook, but you can get creative. And if we drop a trip scheme, you will see those. Anyways, next setup for this, all I do is post A, curl X, custom stem him all the way down, flat Y, and similarly looking setup, but we just have 2 posts here. So of course we know the tight end post is going to get open, but this tight end post opens up the backside post with the wide receiver, that circle, or B wide receiver even more. So again, love this concept. I love incorporating it into any play possible. That was cover 3. This is cover 2. So again, both posts should be open. Again, he cannot user everybody. He's going to have to user somebody, and he cannot user everybody. So, of course, man coverage, probably a little bit of a weaker option, but Lad McConkey can get open against man. Do not forget about his route. And then obviously 2 posts is who we're hoping for. So hopefully that post gets enough separation. Hopefully the tight end, very important in this offense. We need a good tight end. So build around that tight end. We got one more setup out of one more play, and this video is done, which is going to be the tight end whip. So the tight end whip is going to be on the right-hand side there. This play is really good stock. I love this play stock, and honestly, I will run it stock just as a quick snap play. Come out here. Running back route. This running back route is kind of mid, to be honest. I think it used to be a little bit better, but who knows. But tight end, this play was a lot better before you could put tight ends on zig routes. Now that you can, it's not as good. But this one is a little bit deeper, which makes it kind of a little bit more valuable in my opinion. So, boom, he's going to do his thing. Very good man coverage play. Now, just because of the defensive formation, he got bumped a little bit further. So hopefully we avoid that by pinching our D-line here. But the first setup I run is just a flat B, streak B, or flat Y, streak B. Here we're just focusing on the post, zig, quick out combo. So, of course, we want to hit this route if it's open. I will throw that for 5 yards. I don't know if the post is going to get open, so I'm going to take that, basically, because that's the first read. That is how these things work. So let's run it against cover 3 again. Boom. Again, I could have really hit the post or the zig there, and once again, he's not going to be able to use both of them. And really, just because of the defensive formation, he's getting bumped every single time, but that doesn't, again, normally happen. Let's say it's Tampa 2. Immediately, we have RB over there. That's a weird animation, but I'll take it. And against man coverage, again, you're kind of expecting some similar stuff. Post, Heenan Allen can definitely get open. And then tight end zig, hopefully. Now, again, he's getting bumped, but that's just defensive formation. That should not happen. That won't happen every time. So overall, good setup there. Next setup I do is I return A, I flat Y, streak B, curl RB, and I custom stem him all the way down. So it looks like this. Interesting looking setup on paper, but trust, I like this setup a lot. Very good man setup in my opinion, but against zone, it should work decent. So let's try cover 2. Now it is just slow developing, so again, you will need some time, but this route gets wide open because you're holding the hook curl over with, or the vert hook over with the hitch route or curl route. And then the other stuff is kind of self-explanatory. So if it's man, again, obviously you're looking for streak, return, or post, so it's not the greatest man-beating play. And nobody gets open, so that's awesome. Man coverage is crazy this year. It doesn't play like this for me a lot of the time. Online, it's a lot different. So I'll show it against cover 3 one more time. So there you can see a situation where the return brings the player over and the hitch is now opened up. And then of course the post you should be able to fit in most cases depending on the user. But that's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like, subscribe to the channel down below. Let me know which ebook you want to see next, and peace. I'm out of here.